So let's define stress before we move to stress management. Stress is defined as an adverse reaction to external pressures or an environment which produces an unwanted and difficult response in a person. A stressor is usually an agent, biological, chemical, environmental, psychological, or social, which will produce stress in an organization or an individual. The types of stressors change from person to person. Now, this is very important to understand, that what may be stressful to you and me may not necessarily be stressful to another person. It is quite okay to be stressed out about your exams, about your work, about how you are going to deal with things, and it's also okay to be stressed out about what it is going to rain like and whether you are going to be able to catch the local home or no. So, why am I talking to you about this, and what is the twist that I'm going to tell you? Well, frankly, the twist is this: we all have stress. As adults, we have stress. We are stressed out about jobs, responsibilities, spouses, or getting one if required. As working women, we have stress, and the sort of stress that you endure is pretty high. As executives with 5-day weeks, also the sort of decisions that you take and the sort of people that you respond to and the degree of decisions that you take can produce stress within you. So, beyond this, just remember, if nothing else, we tend to live in Bombay and in metro areas. So, if you do anything like living in a metro area, you're going to have enough amount of stresses. Whether you caught the 9:29 train or the 9:31 train makes a huge difference to when you reach home and when you reach office. That itself is quite belligerent enough to produce stress in any person. Now, how important is this? Well, it is important because you need to understand that stress is pretty much going to be a part of your life. And stress is going to be present, and it is not always one particular stress which produces the adverse reaction. It can vary from person to person, and more importantly, stress is going to be multifactorial. So your response to stress does not have to be limited to correcting the one absolute thing. Correct your coping mechanisms and you would rectify the amount of stress you are able to endure and handle. Now, before we move on, allow me to get a little bit technical. Stress is a biological phenomenon and it is a part of your response system. There is a stress response system in your brain which is activated through your brain, through the cortisol, through the adrenal glands, and it is essential to your survival. So remember this, stress is not something that you take, but pretty much a response system inbuilt in your body. The trick is trying to manage it so that it doesn't overwhelm you. So, what are the red flags of stress and why do we need to worry about it? Well, if I had to convey this in a short and sweet manner, let me be very clear. All biological illnesses are now linked to excessive stress. I am not saying they are caused by it, I am saying they can be increased or your response to the treatment can be worsened because of it. So you need to handle stress properly when it comes to biological or medical illnesses. As far as psychiatric illnesses are concerned, I think the jury is out on that. The stress diathesis model of how illness occurs pretty much states that in the window of tolerance or opportunity, if you have excessive stress and you are not able to adapt to it, then you would actually end up having that illness. Talk about anxiety, talk about depression, talk about schizophrenia, talk about post-traumatic stress disorders. All of this are produced by stress. But most importantly and most worryingly, the commonest response to stress is actually substance use. You start with the beer because you are not sure that you are able to sleep at night, and that happened because of the stress that you had. The beer moves to vodka, vodka to whiskey. Soon enough, you are holding it, and it is causing a lot of problems in the morning, and you can't live without the drink. Substance use because of an stress which was not handled is a very, very common precipitating factor. You need to be careful of those. Beyond that, do remember that it is quite possible to have other signs of stress, some things that we would normally call as red flags. So, what are the red flags of stress? What are the red flags which warn you that maybe things are not quite right as they seem? Well, to start off with, these are the technical ones, the ones that you are warned of. Irritability on minimal provocation, if you are not able to sleep at night, if there are situations in which you are becoming more and more intolerant of normal things, if there are times when you are just pushing through your entire day in a mundane manner. But there are subtler signs. Before that, I have to warn you that a person breaking down, crying, or having an aggressive outburst is usually the last step in stress response. Before that, you are going to get the subtle signs that I am telling you about. So, what are the subtle signs of stress? Well, here they are. You are not able to finish your normal day-to-day activities. You are forgetting what things made you smile and why. You are tending to watch the clock before it finishes. You are tending to try and avoid getting up from bed. Your self-care has worsened and you are starting to become more and more panicky. Well, these are red flags of stress. And remember, like anything, these flags will be better seen by other people. So it's quite possible that someone else might help you understand this better, or someone else might point out this to you. Don't take it as an offense. Remember, someone well-meaning is actually concerned about your well-being, and that matters. So, enough about stress. If I had to tell you one last thing, it would be this: it is always peculiar to the place you work. For instance, software professionals usually understand that they are stressed when they tend to break the enter and the space bar in the keyboard. People working at places which require them to do rote activities generally tend to stick to the rules before they start to realize that they are stressed. They become more and more protocol driven. Well, apart from this, how do we handle stress? Why? Because it requires to be handled. Where? It can happen anywhere. When? At any time. And how? With whatever you have available. So the usual stress management techniques are there, and I am not going to focus too much on it because they are all something that we are aware of. Things like maintain a good work-life balance, ensure that you deal with problems openly, acknowledge your problems, learn how to say no, maintain sleep hygiene, ensure that you are not too anxious about it and you are saying no in a proper manner. That should not get you fired. Try and set goals and achieve them, anticipate problems. That is something that we all do. And if you're not doing it, well, you have to. Here's the thing. Remember, the most important idiom in handling stress is don't bring your work home or your home to work. Maintain those balances. But the reason I'm really talking with you today is because I just told you that it is quite possible that stress can be looked upon in a different manner. So here goes. Don't be scared of stress. And I'm not going to tell you about what to do to not have stress. You're already doing it. What I'm going to tell you is how to manage stress when things go horribly, horribly wrong. It happens without warning. It can happen on any random Wednesday. at any time and could happen because of any reason. You can't do anything about it, but you have to get through it. That, my dear friends, is when you require stat intervention, something that would help you adapt to the amount of stress which would be problematic for anybody. During these times, normal techniques don't help, and you have to have an contingency plan ready. So what do? Well, the next 4 techniques are going to sound a little whimsical, but they work fantastically. The first one, the most crucial one, is acknowledging the fact that you are overwhelmed and asking for help whenever you can. Remember, there is no new problem. It is usually a new manifestation of an old problem, which will mean that someone else has gone through it before. So you can avail of the opportunity and the help if you ask for it. Second, now this is very crucial. When things go very, very horribly wrong, remember the wave example. Remember that your emotions, like waves, always have a fixed time that they can respond to. It doesn't matter if it's a ripple or it's a tsunami. It's going to go off within half an hour, which means if it is joy, if it is fantastic happiness, if it is euphoric happiness, if it is ecstasy or sadness or grief or just an invariable sense of feeling that the earth should gobble you up, it will all disappear within half an hour. You have to learn how to handle the next half an hour once you get the earth shattering news. The second thing which would help you navigate a situation which is very, very horribly wrong is to remember the wave phenomenon. And what is the wave phenomenon? It's simple. Emotions, like waves, can last at an heightened existence for only half an hour. Why is this important? Well, because you have to remember that like waves, ripples, tsunamis, or even a very, very flooded marine drive recedes within half an hour, which means that even if the things which went fantastic, which caused euphoria, ecstasy, happiness, or extreme sadness, grief, or that gut wrenching feeling in which you feel like the earth should gobble you up, would only last for half an hour. Remember, waves and emotions tend to coexist. It is very, very similar. So if you take out the half an hour, your training, your cognition, your mindset will set in and you will be able to handle things better. It is as true for you as it is for other people. So next time you have that horrible thing going awesomely, wonderfully, blissfully, either happy or horrendously wrong, remember, take out the next half an hour. Just go through. In the words of Winston Churchill, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Taking out the half an hour will give your mind the time it requires to adjust and manage to whatever problem is thrown your way. Now, all this is very good, but what should help you calm down? And that is quite simple. Music is the answer. I have always genuinely felt that the person who correlates music with happiness should be entitled to the next Nobel Prize. And the reason for this is simple. Any music which makes you smile will work as a stress buster. Why am I saying this? Remember, I am not saying a soft instrumental music. I am saying music which makes you smile. So you have the mobile phones, just latch on to them and ensure that you have a playlist of the songs which make you smile, those random songs which you hear on the radio and you just can't be angry anymore. It will vary from person to person. For instance, I'm a 1980s guy, so the song which makes me smile is Pehla Nasha. People born in 90s tell me this means kuch kuch hota hai, and that anything, even if I do this or this, is always kuch kuch hota hai, and it makes them smile. People born after 2010, however, need to be cautioned. You can't tell people that the song which makes you smile is Zalima. It doesn't work. It has to be a group of 10 songs which make you smile, and there is no restrictions. It can be soft instrumental, it can be patriotic songs, or it could be rock and death metal. It could be a random mix as mine is. But you need to have those 10 songs which will make you smile and take the stress away. Just have that playlist ready. Beyond that, there are deep breathing exercises, focusing exercises, relaxation exercises, and exercises that can be done while you're sitting. I am not certain if you can hear the surroundings right now, but if I had to focus and do an exercise right now, I would focus my mind not on my breathing, but on the sound of the AC, the hum of the AC, or the sound of the drilling machine which you can hear outside. They are synchronous, monotonous sounds. They will help you focus your attention, and once you have focused on that sound for 30 seconds, you will realize that you are aware of your breathing, and all you have to do is just slow your breathing down for the next half minute. And voila, suddenly you have managed to have stress management, relaxation exercise done while sitting on your desk. Finally, because I had said 4, I'll tell you 4. But the 5th piece of advice is equally important, and it's this. Remember that a diamond is just a piece of charcoal which handles stress very well. You're only going to find what you're made of if you go through the adverse circumstances. And in the words of the great Sir Albus Dumbledore, or maybe not Sir, maybe just Albus Dumbledore, help will always be provided at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. To those who ask for it. So if you feel the need to reach out or connect, or if you feel the need to make other people reach out or connect. Ensure that you talk with someone. If you want to talk with me, you can reach me, and Dr. Tilwe Nursing Home is where I usually sit. So do feel free to reach out. Any queries, you can address them. I'll try my best to answer them. Thank you so very much for giving your time.